All righty. Everyone can sit at the front of their seat, hands just on top of their knees. We're going to take a nice deep breath. Exhale nice and slowly. Take another deep breath. Exhale nice and slowly. Just get a good idea about how your body feels just right now. Now again, when we're going through the class here, just a little reminder for those of you who might be new, we go over two different cues here. I'm referring to positions of our spine and our pelvis. What I'm talking about here when I say a hollow position, I'm referring to our stomach muscles and our glute muscles contracting, posteriorly tilting my pelvis back and rounding out my spine. Okay, and that's what I'm referring to. This is what I want you to do when I say I want you to hollow, okay? Now when I want you to arch, that's when you relax those glute muscles and you feel that pelvis tilt forward. You feel that curvature and your back straighten up and it arches. And that's what I'm referring to as a nice arch. The shoulders roll back and down, okay? And in this class, we're trying to achieve a nice balance of the two. So while you're already seated, what I'm going to have us do here is we're going to make sure our heels are directly underneath our knees, and our knees are shoulder width apart. We're all nice and squared up. I'm going to slowly contract my glutes even while I'm sitting and my stomach muscles, because we're going to put in a mild little hollow here, okay? Now what this is going to do is this is going to keep our sternum from lifting up. We don't want our sternum to lift up. When our arms are straight, I want us to put pressure through the palms of our hands, pushing down to the knees. And what this is going to do is it's going to draw our shoulder blades. If you're pushing hard enough, it'll draw our shoulder blades back and down, but it won't lift our chest up because we're keeping those stomach muscles engaged. That's right. All right. Now I want you to constantly keep pushing down with the arms. Keep those arms straight. Now, as you're continuing to contract those muscles, I want to make sure that you're still breathing. Don't hold your breath. You should still keep breathing. We don't ever want to hold our breath. We always want to keep breathing. My rule is as long as you're not underwater, you should never hold your breath. That's a pretty good rule. Okay, so keeping those muscles contracted, we're going to start to lean back a little bit in the chair. And my hands are going to drag up my thigh. But as I come back, I'm still going to keep pushing down into my thighs with the palms of my hands. Now, I want you to come back up to the point just before you feel like all the weight is out of your feet and is mostly just in your hips. And I want you to pause there. Your abdomen should be having to work pretty hard to keep you from leaning back all the way in your chair. And we should still be breathing. We're going to come up nice and easy, or I'm still pushing down with the palms of my hands, okay? Still breathing, still contracting, not letting go. We're coming back again. Just before all of the weight in our feet are in the hips, pausing and breathing. Just going to hold here. Making sure that we're not arching the back. We have a mild hollow. Pushing with my hands. Push hard. Going back up. One more time, okay? Doing good. Don't relax yet. Just breathe. Coming back. Hold. Doing very good. Breathing. Going back up. Good job. Now go ahead and relax a little bit here. If you need to, kind of twist it out. If you're feeling a little stiff, that's always okay. Now let's go ahead and let's grab that PVC. All right. We're going to put this guy here just on top at the end of our thigh. Now we're going to squeeze, we're going to do the same thing. Just going to do the exact same thing we did here, except my hands are at the very ends of the PVC. I'm gonna squeeze those abdominal muscles, keep them nice and tight, squeeze the glutes a little bit here. And now with my arms nice and straight, I want to push down. It's almost as if I'm trying to bend PVC pipe around those legs. It's enough. You'll feel those lats kick on a little bit. There's muscles on the side and the back side of our upper back. Still breathing, contracting. Now, don't move your torso. Pull your elbows back. Drag that PVC up to about mid-thigh. Okay, just mid-thigh. Still keep pushing down. Keep contracting those abdominal muscles. And now we're going to start to lean back up until the point where your arms are straight. No further than that. Once you're there, hold. Remember, I'm pushing down using my hands, pushing that PVC pipe, digging it into the thigh here. Breathing, pushing forward, leaning forward, right back in the starting position. Don't let go, don't let go. Keep squeezing the stomach muscles, keep squeezing the glute muscles, and slowly relax everything. All right, let's reset, okay? Squeezing those stomach muscles, squeezing the glutes. Pushing down with the PVC. So you'll notice that once you squeeze the abdomen, you squeeze the glutes. After that, when you're pushing down with the PVC onto the thigh, your chest wants to lift up. But if you're not letting the chest lift up, instead you'll really just feel the shoulders come back and down. And that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what's going to help keep a nice neutral spine, but without letting our spine arch. Okay, we're pushing down, we're squeezing everything. We're breathing. Pull that PVC, bend the elbows, and pull those elbows back until the PVC is either mid-thigh, or if you feel like you could do a little bit more of a challenge, pull it past mid-thigh. This is going to push you back further when you lean. And now, still pushing down onto the thigh with the PVC. We're going to lean back up to the point where our arms are straight. Hold. Make sure you don't arch the back. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Push the PVC forward. Relax. Woo. I know, right? All right, now reset. Stomach muscles, glute muscles, contract. Push down on the PVC. Doing good. Just breathe, just breathe. All right, pull the elbows back. Past mid-thigh if you can. Now we're leaning back. Once your arms are fully extended, hold. You're doing good. You're doing very good. Breathe, 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 breathe. If you're shaking a little bit, that's okay. Just breathe. Push forward and relax. Relax everything. Shake it out a little bit. All right. We're going to put this all together here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that 3 more times. So this time, we're not going to have any breaks and we're not going to relax in between. So what I want to challenge you to do is we're going to set up just like we did. When we come back, we'll come forward after a pause. Once you've come forward, we're immediately going to start that next rep, okay? So there's not going to be a pause, and I don't want you to lose the contraction. I want you to focus on trying to maintain the contractions for a longer period of time here, right? Set up just like how we normally would. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the stomach muscles. Pushing down into the thigh with the PVC. Pull, PVC in mid-thigh. Leaning back, nice and slow. Breathing. Not letting the back arch. Pausing. Breathing. Pushing it forward. Keep digging the PVC down onto your thigh. Pulling the elbows back now. Torso stays still. Pass mid-thigh if you can. Leaning back now with our torso. Doing good. Just breathe. Arms are linked. Nice and straight. Breathing, keeping the abdomen nice and tight. You got it. You're doing it. Just keep breathing. You got it. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You can do it. You can do it. Keep breathing. Push forward. Leaning forward. Keep the torso still. Keep those contractions. Pulling the elbows back. PVC sliding to mid-thigh. Reaching back. Woo! You got it. Holding. 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 Breathe through it. Come on. You got it. Breathe. Push forward. Push forward. Let's do one more here, okay? Last one. Last one. Don't relax. Pull it back. Pull it back. It's very slowly. Coming back now. Keep those contractions. Keep those contractions nice and easy. Hold. You got this. You can do this. Breathe. Going. Breathe. Coming forward. Pushing down the PVC. Relax. Woo! Everybody go ahead, relax for a second, shake it out. If you need to stand up and walk around, you can stand up, walk around. Woo! You can feel all of that, right? You can feel those muscles. They're there to support that position for your spine. We want to make sure that those muscles are nice. And strong. But most importantly, that they are fatigue resistant. And that's one thing that this class tries to reinforce. It tries to reinforce the fatigue resistance of these postural related muscles, or these posturally influencing muscles, trying to work that isometric component here. So now that we worked a decent part of our core here, let's loosen up the thoracic rib cage here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our legs out of the equation here, not have to worry about our legs so much. So we're going to stay seated to do that. We're going to bring the PVC pipe either to your clavicle, touching, and if you are, your forearms should be vertical. So all you got to do that. If your forearms are at an inclined angle, just push the elbow forward, and then all of a sudden, it's nice and vertical. Should look like a W. Or if you can get that PVC on the top of the back part of your shoulders, not on the neck, okay? We don't want it on the neck. We definitely don't want it on the neck, okay? Sounds good? Yeah. All right, now, if you're here, what I want us to do first here is let's contract the stomach muscles. Just enough. Remember, you shouldn't be having to squeeze butt so hard, okay? Especially with these here. Now, when we're doing the ones where you have there's an arch that's trying to be emphasized, that's when you have to match the strength of your back with the strength of the front, and that's when you might find yourself contracting more. But right now, since we're not really doing that too much here, just contract the abdominal muscles just enough here to make sure that you feel comfortable, that your sternum is not going to lift up. Okay? And you might even find yourself kind of like this here. Now, if you find that you're over here and you're not really having to work hard to maintain this position, then you don't have to work as hard and don't force yourself to contract those muscles as much, okay? This is all about balance. It's like making a soup. You have to have just the right amount of the right ingredients in there. Okay, now, in this position here, we're just gonna work on some thoracic mobility. We're gonna do a few drills. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna tilt side to side, but I still want you to squeeze the abdomen, okay? Keep the abdominal muscles contracted as we're just tilting at what they would refer to be as your natural waistline. Pretty good. Now let's rotate, kind of like in a semi-slow dynamic fashion. So I'm not pausing, I'm not trying to go too slow, I'm trying to continuously move, but I'm not trying to do this as fast as possible. There you go. You got it. Not bad, right? No, not bad at all. Doing good. Okay, now, doing very good. Keep those stomach muscles nice and contracted. Now we're gonna do a little figure eight. So what this is basically I'm gonna tilt and turn to one side, tilt. So basically, if I tilt down to my left side, I'm just gonna rotate forward, then I'm gonna tilt down to the right side and then rotate that side forward. And now I'm doing a figure eight. Look at that. Still keep your stomach nice and tight because we want to limit the movement to solely come from the mid part of our spine, or ideally it's the vertebrae that those ribs branch off of. Okay. Let's switch directions. You can figure eight one way, we can figure eight the other way. Doing good. Keep those stomach muscles nice and tight. And relax. Go ahead and take that PVC out. Woo! We can breathe pretty good. So what's really good about thoracic mobility is it's, again, remember our joints. Our joints go in a nice little pattern of a stable to mobile to stable orientation. So again, if you want to think about our thoracic joint, our thoracic spine is a joint, and our lumbar spine is a joint, and our cervical spine is a joint, the cervical and the lumbar spine are supposed to be stable joints, while our thoracic spine is supposed to be nice and mobile here. It can even help, trying to help you breathe as well, by making sure that we have that mobility in here, okay? Now, let's get back in position here. Remember, either you have the PVC touching the clavicle, or it's just behind, on top. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad, right? Now. Okay, now. Here instead, let's work on a little bit more of the shoulder mobility, okay? Still the same thing, we're gonna, PVC's either touching the clavicle, your forearms are vertical, or it's on the top of the back part of your shoulders. Squeezing the abdominal muscles just a little bit here because we don't want to arch. If you're finding yourself having to arch your back just to get the PVC in that position, then I would, just to get the PVC behind your head, I would go ahead and put it in contact with the front of your collarbone. Now, locking all of this up here, all we're going to do, and I'll turn to my side so everybody can see, all we're going to do is just push the elbows forward, okay? Now, for those of you who haven't done this class, let's do a nice little eye opener, okay? Relax your stomach muscles. Don't contract your stomach muscles, okay? Now, go ahead and push those elbows forward. You might notice that they don't move but so far forward, but really try to push them forward as far as you possibly can. What you might notice is at a certain point, if you keep pushing, your elbows don't really move anymore. It's your lower back starts to arch more. That's a perfect example of compensation. Compensation of a point where we've reached maximal mobility or range of motion within a certain movement to the point where a stable joint is no longer acting as a stable joint. It's being forced to become a mobile joint. That's where bad things can happen. Now, let's do the same thing again. So at this time, first, let's brace. Let's by contracting our glutes and those stomach muscles. Remember, if those stomach muscles are nice and tight, that sternum isn't going to lift up, okay? Now, push those elbows forward. Yeah, right? Right? You feel that. You notice that your elbows might not even move that much anymore. Or it might not move as much as they did before. But what's definitely not moving now, if you're squeezing hard enough, is your lower back isn't arched. That's good. Because we load our spine so often. Go ahead and relax. We load our spine very often. And our spine is this S-shaped curve. And all those compression discs in there on top of the orientation of our spine acts as a perfect shock absorber. And it's much stronger than as if it were a straight line, like this PVC here. But what happens is when that S, it's a nice modest curve, mild curve. But if those curves accentuate too much, bad things can happen here. So that's why we're always emphasizing this neutral spine position here, okay? Let's bring that PVC back in position. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abdomen, push those elbows forward, and relax. Now, tighten everything up again. Stomach, check. Glutes, check. Push those elbows forward. Now keep those elbows forward as we rotate towards the right. And as we rotate towards the left. Back to the front and relax. Okay, everybody stand up if you want. You can stay seated. Those of us who are going to join me, go ahead and keep your PVC in your hand. Pretty good? Yeah, it's pretty good. Why not? Now, let's come back up here. We're going to add, for those of us who are standing, you are going to have the added responsibility of making sure our feet are in a good position here, okay? All right, so we're going to keep our feet shoulder width apart. Our knees are not locked out. They're just soft knees, okay? They're just soft knees. Now I'm going to really emphasize squeezing my glutes, squeezing the abdomen, push the elbows forward. Okay. Now, hopefully if you're on your seat, if you're still sitting down, you're at the very edge of your seat, so you can do the next one with us, okay? Still keeping everything nice and tight, elbows are forward, but the abdomen is nice and tight and contracted, and we're not arching the back. While you're still pushing those elbows forward, I want you to bend the knees slightly, okay? You're just going to bend the knees slightly. You might notice it's a little bit more difficult to squeeze the glutes. It's okay. Still keep trying. Don't give up on squeezing the abs. Keep them contracted. Keep it nice and tight. Now we're maintaining that slight bend. We're gonna hinge at the hip as we continue to push those elbows forward. Notice I have a nice neutral spine. I'm not arched, but my back is also not rounded. It's nice and neutral. It's not picking any side or the other. It's finding a nice balance. Keeping our head above the level of our heart. Continuing to contract our stomach muscles and pushing the elbows forward. We're going to come back up and relax. Very good. Now, I'm going to add a movement. We're going to do that again. We'll set up. We'll hinge. We'll come back up again. If you're seated, what I want you to do is after you come back up, because you're seated down here, whether you have the PVC here or whether it's behind your head, once you come back up, I want you to take one foot back so it looks like this. And then if you want, we'll start off with our left foot. The left foot will come back like this. Tuck it under your chair as best you can, or if you want, turn to your right in your chair just a little and put it on the outside of the foot of that chair, just like this, okay? And when you step back, you'll hinge a little bit like that, keeping weight in the heel, that front foot, okay? For those of you who are standing, we're gonna perform a modified reverse lunge. So I'm basically having us focus on maintaining our spine in a good position as we go through two different movements, okay? So let's get set up. Whether you're on your chair, whether you're standing up, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abdomen, push the elbows forward, soft bent knees, hinge, going nice and slow, feeling those hamstrings stretch a little bit, up until the point where you get to where your head is still just above the level of your heart. Still squeezing the abdomen, still pushing the elbows forward. Holding. You got it. You can do it. Keep going. Breathe, 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 breathe. Coming back up. Now, we're going to take that step back. For those of you who are seated, go ahead and do the left leg back. And then you lean forward. For those of us standing, take a step back. Just the ball of your foot and your big toe. Just like that, as best you can. If you have to have your chair nearby, you can have your chair nearby. Step forward and relax. Now, when you're trying to balance, all of a sudden you might forget a little bit about trying to keep all this nice and tight, and that's okay. That's okay. Again, a good benefit from this class can come from is that we do these, well, I'm going to give you a mixed, unrelated bit of exercises to do, that the one constant that you'll have is that we're maintaining a good neutral spine. And not only that, if you take the class long enough and you're pretty religious with it, you almost kind of build this second sense of knowing when your spine is nice and straight. You can just feel it. You know it's when a nice neutral spine. You'll know when you're hollowing and you'll know when you're arched. Let's do this again. I'm going to add one more movement. If those of you who are doing this seated, you do the same thing again. For those of us standing, you'll hear me call a down. So we'll hinge, we'll take that step back, then I'll say down, the back knee will bend down because we're going to do a little reverse lunge. We'll stand back up and we'll recover. What I want you to do is try to really pay attention to making sure that as you come back up from the hinge, as you take a step back, are you still keeping yourself braced? Are we still able to transition from one movement to the next while still being able to simultaneously keep all of this nice and stable, okay? Let's try. PVC is loaded, feet are shoulder width apart, glutes are squeezed, the abdomen is squeezed, bent knees, hinge. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Elbows are pointed forward. Forgot that cue, didn't I? Keeping your head above the level of your heart. You got it. Coming back up. Step back. Pause. Make sure you have your balance. Back knee comes down. Push to the heel of the front foot. And recover. Good job. Let's do that one last time. This time we're going to do it for the other side. Okay? So with the right foot, that comes back. Feet are shoulder width apart. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the abdomen. Use a bent hinge. Push those elbows forward a little bit. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Come back up. Step back, right foot. Pause, knee down. Push the heel of the front foot, come back up. Recover. Good job. Good job. That's what we want to see. Exactly what we want to see. All right, shake the arms out just a little bit here. Woo. Feel that a little bit, right? Absolutely. Now let's see what else that we have on our little list here today. So for those of you who do have, ideally, if you have a chair in front of you, even if you're already seated, then you're already perfectly set up for this. If you don't have a chair in front of you and you're going to continue to do this seated, what I'd ask for you to do is to try to grab something, or maybe even if you're in the Group X room, scoot your chair over to the rail. Or if you don't have another chair lying around, scoot your chair, if you can scoot it with ease, up to a place where you can put your hands at the same height that would be where your shoulders are at the moment right now. For those of us standing, we're just going to come back to the back side of our chair. We're going to bring our feet back, having our hands on top. What we're going to do is we're going to lean back a little bit with our hips. Walk those feet back a little bit more, keeping your head above the level of your heart. What we're going to do here is we're going to hollow a little bit, okay? So let's go ahead and hollow spine. There you go. Not bad? Nah. Not bad at all, right? No, not bad at all. Now, continue to hold that contraction. You should feel that spine trying to round out on the back side. And what I want you to do while you're holding and breathing is you're going to push down. Okay, so for those of you who are in the chair but you don't have anything in front of you, I just want you to put your hands on your knees with your palms like this, and you're just going to practice like this, okay? You're going to let your shoulders roll forward and down as you hollow that back, round that back out, okay? Those of us still standing, or who have a chair in front of us, you're bent over, you're hollowing that spine still. Now push with the palms of your hands into the top of the chair, okay? You should feel these lat muscles come on a little bit, and your shoulders should come down and forward, and you should really feel the shoulders kind of round forward a little bit. And breathe. You got it? and relax. Okay, now we're gonna arch. We're gonna do the exact opposite here. So I'm gonna let my weight kind of shift a little bit towards the palms of my hands. I'm gonna arch my back now. Should see that my back is nice and arched. My back is nice and arched. And now I'm gonna push down with the palms of my hands, keeping my shoulders, my arms straight. And this time, my shoulders should roll back and down. You should always feel those shoulder blades kind of squeezing together just a little bit, but mostly coming down. Pretty good? Oh yeah, definitely. And we're gonna recover. Shake it out just a little bit here. Not too bad, right? No, not too bad at all. Oops, sorry for all the static. I think my mic got tangled up here. Okay, shake it out just a little bit here. Everybody grab their PVC again. Got one more thing to do. For those of us seated, your PVC is going to go on the top of your thigh, just like this, at the very end where your knee is, almost, okay? Not on the kneecap. Don't place the PVC on the kneecap, but just above the kneecap, okay? But not to a place where it feels like it's really tender. If it's really tender right there, pull it back a little bit more up on the muscle if you need to, okay? When I tell you to push in with the PVC, you're just gonna take those arms and push in, okay? Now, for those of us who are standing and for those of us who are seated, everybody bring their PVC to shoulder height. Make sure your feet are shoulder width apart. And now, imagining as if I'm gonna bend the bar, I'm gonna break the bar. It's as if I'm rotating my thumbs up. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. If I could almost bow the bar, so that way the curve points up. It's not actually going to do that. What's going to happen is your hands will stay still, but your arms are going to externally rotate. Okay? You should really feel that. Relax. Now break the bar. Relax. Break the bar. Hold and squeeze. Relax. Break the bar. Relax. Break the bar. You got it. Relax. Break the bar. Relax. Break the bar. Breathe. Just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Relax a little bit here, shake the arms out. Okay, now, whether you're seated or whether you're standing, we're gonna bring that bar to the top to our thigh. Arms are straight. Now, I want you to break the bar again. Same emphasis, okay? You should notice that your shoulders are squeezing back a little bit and down, just a little bit. And as you try to break the bar with the bar just on top of the thigh, now squeeze the bar into your thigh. Now you're gonna really feel your shoulder blades come down. Now relax. Now for those of you who weren't already doing it, let's make sure we emphasize hollowing here, okay? So squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the stomach muscles. We have our nice hollow. Try to break the bar. Your elbows will turn back a little bit. They'll almost turn in even, but they'll be pointing behind you a little bit. You'll feel those shoulder blades squeeze back and down. I'm still squeezing the abdomen. Now I'm going to squeeze the bar into my thigh. And breathe, 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 breathe. Yeah, there we go. You got it. Just breathe. Just breathe through it as best you can. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You got it. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You can do it. Just breathe. And relax. Good job. Woo! All right. Everybody go ahead and get rid of their PVC. Everybody go ahead and take a seat. Hands back to the first one we did. Okay? Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abdomen. Arms are straight, pushing down to the palms of our hands on top of the knees. Okay? We're going to come back a little bit in the chair, leaning back. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You got it. You can do it. You can do it. Breathe and breathe. Breathe and breathe. Squeezing down to the thigh. Relax. Good. Here, one more time, okay? You're almost done. You're almost done. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the abdomen. Pushing down to the palms of the hands, leaning back. Hold. Breathe, 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 breathe. Come back forward. And good job, everybody. Well done. Thank you again for joining. I hope to see y'all next week. Thanks again for tuning in, and y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.